Hi everyone, welcome to this special edition of the Voice of Evidence podcast. I am here with my co-host Rocco Di Stefano, and we are actually here with Mr. Eri Kroh and Yaffa, and we are going to talk about larger than life. So maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit, and then we can dive into our questions.
My name is Eri Kroh. I'm originally from Israel. I moved here a little over 30 years ago and came to the US with big dreams. And once I got more established here, I joined a group called Larger Than Life. It's a bit of a story how I joined them. I went to a party. Just for the party, I had no clue it had anything to do with Larger Than Life. And it was a really good party. And during the party, somebody stopped the music in the middle, stood up and mentioned that they come from Israel, Larger Than Life, kids with cancer, and if anybody wants to help, they can put something in a box at the door when you leave.
Wow.
So it turns out this wasn't the first party, but when the first party happened like that, they had $60,000 at the door by the time, and it's just a party that nobody really knew. People left their credit cards or pledges. So the founder, Rakefet Aaron, decided to turn it into something more set up and continuous. And so she set up Larger Than Life LA Family and got together a group of Israelis. And instead of just having a party at home, started to make it bigger and bigger. And I joined, and at some point it became quite a large organization. We raised money for kids with cancer in Israel. Now, there's a lot of things that we do for the kids. I would say the number one is we bring a group of kids once a year from Israel. I would say around 40, between 35 and 40 kids, and give them the time of their lives. These are kids who have recovered from cancer. They've been through treatments, chemotherapy. They lose their hair. A lot of them have lost limbs. Have lost certain abilities to function, and we just give them the time of their lives. They come here, they do the usual things like Disneyland, Universal Studios, Magic Mountain, but we also have a lot of Israelis that volunteer and help, and we do helicopter rides for them. A lot of Israelis here own helicopters, Ferrari rides, yachts, shopping, gifts, parties, just they don't have time to think about being sick. They're not sick anymore. They go home very happy. And the feedback that we get is from that point onwards, pretty much forever, they keep talking about this as being a major changing point of their lives. Going from being sick to being healthy. Now, it's not exactly like that, because obviously some of those who were sick, unfortunately, do get it back. But in general, I would say they have a hard time, treatments, isolation, hospitals, losing hair, losing limbs, heart burden on the family, financial burden on the family. Post-trip, we had the greatest time ever. My disease is over, parents go back to work, life is starting again, everything is fresh and new, and we feel very good that we're helping. We're not doing it, but we're helping with the transition from one side to the other. Now, there's a lot of other things that we do with these kids. We help them with other causes, healing the families, because the families go through a lot of strain, a lot of stress. While kids are sick, the parent has to stay home instead of go to work many times. Financial burden, stress, it really causes problems in the family. So we have a program that we do send the families of the kids to a place in the south of Israel called Eilat, which is a resort town, just to be together again, to experience being normal. To not have to think 24/7 about a sick child, but go relax, have a wonderful time, the whole family, and come back to being to normality,
Right.
which is one of the things we do. We also take care of certain medicines that are not available in Israel because they're too expensive, for instance. Sometimes our treatments are not available in Israel because the disease is too rare for a relatively small country, so they have to go to another country to get treated. We have at least 5-6 other programs, but I'd like to emphasize one more, which is right now probably the most important thing that we're doing. We're talking about something called Gan Chalomot in Hebrew, or daycare of dreams. I'm going to call it a daycare rather than a garden.
Yes.
Daycare of dreams, where kids from a very young age, I've seen as young as 6 months, literally toddlers, that they come there and change their diapers, to maybe 6 years old. I've seen kids do first grade in the dream care in Israel. And the first one is in Tel Aviv, or a suburb of Tel Aviv, very near a major hospital. And it's been such a success that people come from all over the world to learn how it's done. It's the first one. And it's a combination of a private-public partnership, so to speak. It's a non-profit. The government does help because they would have to pay teachers no matter what, for education. That's part of, like here, education is a right. So the government will provide teachers, even teachers that specialize in special education, which is needed here. And we as volunteers raise the money to build the facility, and the municipalities provide the land. So we
That's
get
amazing.
land from the city, we get salaries paid by the government, the federal in Israel, but from the government, and we have private people who donate to build. And also we have to maintain it. Not everything is salaries, there's other maintenance required. So in addition to all the programs, we have these two. The first one, as I mentioned, is near Tel Aviv. We're building a second one in a town called Beersheba, which is in the south of Israel. It's the capital of the south. And we got a beautiful piece of land from the municipality, and we're under construction to build a second one. It'll be slightly different. There will be actually rooms to sleep overnight. The first one is in a hub, the center of Israel, where you can get back home if you're from that area every day, and Larger Than Life provides transportation back and forth. But the one in the south, there are kids who come from all over the huge south. There's a lot of Bedouin tribes in the south of Israel where there are kids who do get cancer, but they can't travel every day, so they're brought over to the center and they can actually sleep there. Again, not built yet, but I think we're more than halfway through. And then the idea is to build another one in Jerusalem, one more in Haifa. And by that, I think we'll be covering most of Israel, and hopefully one day we won't need any of them anymore, and we can convert them to a much different use that after cancer is over. But unfortunately, it's going to take a little while.
Let's talk about Gardens of Dreams. Yaffa, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So during this very difficult, unprecedented time, nobody could have predicted, a world that's going into such a transition where people are far apart from each other, keeping distances and not even being able to socialize, creating a lot of mental stress and physical stress in general. But not only that, realizing that because and due to that situation, Larger Than Life is actually unable to proceed with the annual galas, which that was a great source to collect money and be able to donate it to the kids. So the thought came to mind, what can I do as an individual to still make a difference, regardless of the whatever difficulties and the, like I said, the obstacles on the way and everything else that, prevents us from being able to still do something, but there has to be a way. So, when the thought comes to mind and you recognize that there is a need for you, then there has to be a way. When there is a will, there is a way.
Right.
And so in my mind, I couldn't escape the thought that, it's impossible to go to sleep at night knowing that despite of how hard it is for me as a person, how much harder it must be for others, and especially for the kids, So with that thought, I wrote a book, and the book is called American Dream, which this is all about the American dream. So, but one of the messages in the book is to give an answer to that feeling of being, somebody who deserts his home, because that's what we do. We leave our homes, we desert our home, we immigrate to a new country, and we follow our dreams to make it big. And some of us do become big. Yeah. What do you do with that? Comes the question. What do you do with that? And this is what the book is all about. Because once you reach your American, what do you really do with your American dream? And the whole point is to be able not to hold anything for yourself, and to remember where you came from, and to become that ambassador. Yeah. And so this is where, this is where I felt I was coming in the picture, and I felt like,
it's really about what you're going to do with how much time you have left, right? So
exactly,
we really don't know
exactly
when we're going to be taken. So
exactly,
we have to make the most of it, and we also have to make sure we make the difference.
That's the whole point.
So with the Gardens of Dreams, how much money are we trying to raise here?
Well, I know the numbers, but I'm going to leave it up to Eri. But the goal is, when we spoke about it, was to be able and reach half of the amount that normally the galas produces.
Yes.
So if a gala produces, X amount, our goal is to reach half of that, which I don't know if
the galas are, where are the gala? Are these galas virtual? How are we doing the galas?
The galas are physical galas that happen every year.
And where are they located? For people to know?
But I'd say the most common one is Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills.
So if people want to go and see these galas and then donate, they can go to the Beverly Hilton.
They attend the galas, they attend, and then they purchase the ticket, and then, it's a whole night of entertainment.
How much are the tickets usually for people to attend these galas? So we can, and how do they get a ticket?
The ticket is $400 typically for the least expensive. Of course, there are VIP tables, and tables that are $20,000 too for 10 people. But the regular tables are $400 per seat, and usually it's 10 to 12. Mm-hmm. And we have the gala every single year. The galas are expensive. That's why if we raise only half of the amount that we raise in the gala, but without the overheads of the gala, we're doing okay. Mm-hmm. And right now that we can't have the gala because of the situation.
Because of COVID.
Right.
Is there any things that can be implemented in place of the restrictions that could still allow the galas to happen, or is there no ability?
The gala can only be done virtually. Yeah. We know of some organizations that have done it. We chose not to do it that way
because of the restrictions.
Again, every
organization,
charity has their strengths or weaknesses, their the way they function, who they know. We decided not to do a virtual gala, but we did smaller events. An example is dinner for 10 people, but you pay $500.
And this is raising all money for cancer research and cancer for the kids to take care of the kids.
Yes.
And you talked about earlier about how the organization helps with just changing these kids' lives. So I just want to kind of touch on that just a little bit. So with these kids going through a great deal of stress, you said when they have this amazing day where nothing else matters, it's a huge tipping point in their life. And you elaborate a lot on that. So these kids actually come in that day in full remission of cancer or complete remission, all for the most part cured. And the parents and the children almost entirely have this tipping point where now they go from telling themselves a story almost of victimization to now triumph and perseverance because of your organization.
Yes. And
that's amazing.
I would say that it's it's a process more than, it doesn't happen overnight. So it's a process. They go through months and months, sometimes years, of being sick, surgeries, treatments, chemotherapy, radiation, whatever they need to do. That has nothing to do with us.
Right.
Hospitals, if you have great hospitals in Israel, you do, and they take good care of the kids. Coming out of it, you're considered, you're right now you're healthy. They get a clean bill of health. And then they're allowed to come to this trip. They have to be the right age. Never done the trip before, you can't do it twice. With certain exceptions that we allow for certain reasons,
right?
But not twice. And obviously we bring in doctors, nurses who specialize in treatment, entertainment crews. We bring a whole staff to make sure that this is a very big success. Here we rent the buses, the hotels, we plan together. Everybody volunteers. It's like a volunteer organization primarily, with very, very few expenses. And so once they come, it's 12 days. So it's not like they come in one day, they change from this to that.
No, it's a process.
They come in, they start smiling first because they haven't smiled in a long time. They start enjoying
the little
make
things.
New friends. They realize they used to think it was me. Why me? Why me?
For me, the victim
now
mentality.
They say, no, it's not me. Look, there's 40 of us here, and we know there's more.
We're all in this together.
We're in this together.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. It's like what we're going through right now with COVID. We're all, unfortunately, in this COVID-19 onto 2021 with it. We're all in this together. I think when you have a like experience, when you have that common denominator, and you realize that you're not the only one who's been unfortunately dealt a bad card, that when you come in and you see other people that have been hurt or been a victim or they thought a victim of something, and then people of like experience come and experience like all these amazing things that your organization puts together, it gives them something to be grateful for, and it gives them other people to bond with and have that camaraderie. Just in any team sport, when you lose together. When you win together. But you're all losing or winning together, and you're all going for a common goal. And this is life, is to live.
Friendships.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one very sad story. I'll tell it in spite of the fact it's sad. Like
I was
keep
just gonna
everything
ask.
happy.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask
That's
that.
okay. So we have 90% success where we take kids' lives and change them for the better.
Right.
No questions asked. And if you ask the kids, a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, they will give you the same answer. It was a life-changing event.
Yes.
We do have failures. We do have about 10% of kids that get remission and so I'll tell a very sad story. It's very touching. I don't know if I could have told it 2 years ago, but at this point I can. In one of our galas a few years ago, we had two girls. Mai is one of them. She was the daughter of a famous chef in Israel. And Noah, another girl, who was slightly older than permitted, but because she was in bad shape, she was allowed to come to the trip,
right,
in spite of not meeting all the criteria. Right. And as soon as they connected, they became best friends. And they both had the same cancer, 6 months, I think a month between them. One of them got the cancer, the other one got the cancer, a month difference. Came to the US, became best friends. You couldn't separate them. One was older than the other, quite a bit, but you couldn't separate them. They were all the time together, keeping each other's backs, enjoying the trip together. They had the time of their lives. They were. One of them was walking on what do you call them? Crutches. Crutches. Done. Tried to walk and dance the best she could, and they went back to Israel, became best friends. Unfortunately, remission. They both died a month of each other.
Wow.
And in fact, when the first one who passed away was sick, the second one was literally sleeping in her bed, and they were together all the time. But both same disease, a month difference in getting it, a month difference in losing the battle. So we have our successes. Thank God we have a lot. We have some failures, and they're not maybe our failure, but failure because the kids didn't make it.
I wouldn't necessarily say
amazing
failure.
Stories, and we have some sad stories.
I wouldn't necessarily say failure, because, you know, you provided for them 12 days of trying to give them an experience like most people can't even dream of. And when you say Garden of Dreams or daycare of dreams, I mean, you're giving them a day in the life of what everyone could have the best possible dream of. You said Ferraris, you said helicopters, you said shopping in some of the nicest places in the world. I mean, giving someone an experience, and at the end of the day, we're all, unfortunately,
never forget that.
They'll never forget it,
yes.
you know, and
it
we're all
stays with
memories.
them. Yeah.
At the end of the day, we only have memories.
Yes.
And if they can have that memory, that's something that they can have forever,
That's right.
alive or not alive, you know, and that's all they'll have.
And in addition, of course, if I may,
Yeah.
coming from the mental point of view of this whole thing, is when the kids are in a situation like that, and there is a lot of darkness, and there is a lot of also a feel of giving up, you know.
Yeah.
It's normal, right? But then you embark on a journey like that, and you see how much the world still has to offer
Yes.
to you, and how beautiful the world is, and what else is there to look forward to and strive for. So the shift is also mental, because all of a sudden you realize that I am not actually willing to give up, not quite yet. I'm willing to fight.
Yes.
I'm willing to fight because there is something to fight for, because, you know, wow, now I'm dreaming again. I'm in a world of dreams, and I don't want this to end. And I can make it happen by making this mind shift of willingness to live instead of giving up and, you know, turning my back on my own life.
So-
And that's part of the...
So let's talk about the dreams, the gardens of dreams, the gardens of shopping, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what type of products are actually going to be in the shopping carts for the gardens of dreams, and where can we find them?
So incredibly enough, you know, when the idea was, you know, presented, and then we've crunched on it, and then we grind it, and then we have decided that, you know, we need to have this rainbow of options so that no one will go nowhere but to the website of Larger Than Life LA, because this is where you go. This is where you find your gifts. And this is where you shop. This is where you make a difference. And so we started breaking it down into categories. What would people like to shop for and look for the holidays? Anywhere from wines to, you know, maybe great clothing, to arts, to jewelry, to books, to education, to
Spas, maybe?
spas, to
Supplements? Pretty much everything.
exactly,
All of the
supplements,
above, right?
artwork, exactly. And then we also thought of one more thing while working on this idea. You know, we said we need to make sure that anybody that we bring, the traffic that comes to the website must stay there. Nobody leaves. But
Right.
how do we do that? So the thought came to mind that what we will do is we will be able to not only give everybody a rainbow of options to purchase, but then also a variety of prices. So that even if
Some
you
options.
are
Yeah,
exactly,
it's always good to give options.
exactly. So there's always
So this is
something
pretty
for
much
everyone.
a garden. It's like a supermarket of dreams, right?
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
amazing. So Eri, thank you very much for coming in, and Yaffa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us.
We appreciate the
This is a
opportunity.
very important cause, so
Yes.
it's not for us. It's an important cause, and thank you for
Thank you for coming.
appreciating the cause and understanding it and
Exactly.
helping us promote it so that we can help the kids.
We're looking forward to seeing all of you. If you're watching us right now, we're looking forward to see all of you on our website. And we're looking forward to seeing you shopping all day long. Forget Amazon, forget eBay, forget everything, because you're shopping for a cause and you're help building a community. So Larger Than Life LA, we're looking to see you there.
Gamani Taramti. You can say it with an American accent, Gamani Taramti.
Oh,
You can say it with an Israeli accent, Gamani
French,
Taramti.
Gamani Taramti.
Gamani Taramti. You can say it in German accent, can't help you.
Gamani Taramti.
In any language, Gamani Taramti means I donated too. So the point and the message is, please help us donate. It's for the kids. We have no expenses. It's all going to the kids.
Exactly.
We need to help them.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Grammy
Grammy.
Taranti.